What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bears Focus Podcast. Your boy Collin here. Once again, Sterling with us. Back at it again. How you feeling today, my boy?
Feeling great so far today. All things Bears related is starting to come full circle as we move closer to the draft. It's getting really, really exciting, but then again, we still are talking about the Bears, so you still have to manage expectation. But let's get into all things Bears Focus Podcast.
Most definitely, baby. First things first, man, let's get right into a couple of recent signings they made. Brought in Devin Duvernay on the 1-year deal. And then they also brought in cornerback Nick McLeod. Both of these guys really more so special teams guys. Duvernay, I know he got drafted by the Ravens and as a receiver didn't really pan out for them. Was with Jacksonville last year. I think a really good special teams pickup. And then the same with McLeod, more so a special teams guy. A few spot starts here and there, pretty reliable if he needs to start. But obviously we don't want that to happen. We got some good guys up top. So what you think about those signings, dog?
It looks like they may turn out to be just rotational pieces for the team. Again, here is Pose, here is Ben Johnson, continue to build out this team just for a functional strength going forward. I know everybody throughout Bears Nation is talking about trenches, but this is still a team sport, right? If one of those starting members go down, do you have a reliable piece that could, give you 2, 3 games, 4 games for that person to recoup, get back healthy, and get back on the football field if a starter goes out? Or the Bears are just looking at building out this thing holistically, giving the Bears a chance to be a great team, not only next season, but seasons beyond that with Caleb Williams at the helm.
I think they're doing the good thing, building around the edges. But then obviously special teams is a very important phase of the game as well. So we need some good special team pieces out there that's going to go out there, do the job properly, and make sure that they get the job done. So I really like the pieces that they're bringing in. I like how Pose is building this team, man. He's doing a lot of great things. And we're going to have to give him some credit. We'll see how things go after the draft. I know we got the mock coming up later, but we're going to have to give him a grade and really judge the work that he's done thus far.
We are going to have to just really do a deep dive into Pose.
Most definitely.
He
might have to get a whole episode.
And it is crazy the type of bank robberies Pose has been pulling off as the Bears GM. And honestly, he might be the best GM. I mean, not GM, but he may be the best thing we have going in Chicago right now for the Bears present day. That's an underrated signing that we need to talk about that the Bears made, and going after Ryan Poles and having him at the forefront along with Kevin Warren, Ben Johnson, leading this team into the future, not just present day, but I'm thinking future and beyond. Ryan Poles is excuse me for lack of better words, a gangster at getting what needs to be done. So big shout out to Ryan Poles. Look forward to talking about you and seeing what you do in this upcoming draft. All right, so we go from there talking about the recent Bears signings, but what about some of the most recent signings in the NFL in general, right? You got the Jets, right, getting Fields. You got Jameis going to the Giants.
Shout out Jameis, man.
Shout out Jameis Winston. And then again, you got Russell Wilson leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers, going to the G-Man.
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. Right, but at the same time, he could be Dangerous Russ. Dangerous Russ could make a pop-up in New York. So looking at those signings and just the signings around the league, what do you think was your most interesting signing that you saw? And there are a couple of other teams in there as well, too. But what do you think?
Man, I'm going to start it out. Special shout out to Justin Fields, man. Congrats on that deal with the Jets. I feel like he got a raw deal from the Bears. I was one to say that the team could have built around him when they got that #1 overall pick, traded back, really built the team out earlier. But they went a different route with a different QB. So it is what it is. But shout out to him on getting that spot with the Jets. But man, the signing that really stands out to me the most is definitely Jameis and Russ going to the Giants. What that signals to me is 100% they're going to draft a young quarterback. And it's probably going to be Shador that goes to the Giants. I don't think that either of those guys is a long-term answer. Whether long term is 2, 3 years, I don't think it's either one of those guys. Get the young guy in, let him sit for a year now. You got Russ there that can start, win you 8, 9 games. You got Jameis that can back you up and win you some games if Russ gets hurt, because they still got to fix that old line too. I really think that the Giants are setting themselves up to do something good and properly develop a young quarterback.
Now, here's the thing. We're talking prime time, right? That's
Yes,
Deion
sir.
Sanders, but it runs in the bloodline, right? Why would you draft Shador Sanders if you're planning to have him sit for an entire season? You got two quarterbacks that could potentially get you through the season, but I'm pretty sure the Giants are not going to spend what they picked 3 this draft.
I think, yeah, 3.
They picked 3 this draft. Why would you? I'm not going to say waste that pick, but why would you use that pick and then make the moves that you did? Again, is this going to compound the perfunctory that they did with Saquon Broccoli?
That
It's
was
like,
crazy.
again, this guy, you have a superstar, game changer. You didn't want to pay him because of the running back market. Then this game changer leaves, goes to a competitor within the own division and does what? Wins the Super Bowl. If that is not a slap in the face, a spit on the organization, a mismanagement of negotiations on that leadership team, I don't know what is. That is going to be a stain on the New York Giants resume until they make the playoffs or get over it.
That's real.
It's nothing good about the Giants since Eli Manning. And maybe he should be the one at the forefront leading that team at some point in time. And maybe
Probably.
that's something that's looking like it's cooking in the books. But for me, besides the Giants, right, looking at these teams around the NFL, the Patriots look pretty good, right?
Okay.
They have some splash names in there like Diggs going there. That's interesting.
That is an interesting move.
Why do you think Diggs would go from who he had? CJ Stroud. He had before that, who did he have before that?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen,
Reigning MVP.
MVP. Now he goes to.
Well, can we really say that he has Stroud? I mean, what did they have? 8, 9 games together?
And
They
those
didn't have a
8-9,
full season.
he was cooking, but that knee went out, that knee buckled. So hey, you never know what a full season would have looked like between him, CJ Stroud, and that
Exactly.
roster of wide receivers that they have. But that's not the team with the flashiest picks for me, from my perspective.
All right, who you got there?
I'm looking at those Denver Broncos. You want to talk about quietly assembling the Avengers. The Broncos have done so. I mean, the Broncos look like they plan to take the 49er spot at being one of those consistent playoff teams year after year that are going to come in, be prepared, know how to play the game, and you're going to have to mentally and physically beat them. Right? Sean Payton developed that team last year, and then you got to think momentum continues to build. They had the defensive MVP. They go out and get some defensive stalwarts. I'm talking Drake, what's his name? Drake Greenlaw. Then they go out and sign Tufanga. I mean, they are going to have a team assembled that are going to have positional pieces in there that are ready to win now, which also takes some of the pressure off of that guy on defense that just won the MVP for their team. But it also gives their quarterback, Bo Nix, more time and more functional pieces to go ahead and go after that championship right here, right now. Another underrated signing was Evan Ingram. That is a top tier tight end in the league. I mean, I know that's debatable. That's debatable. It depends on what type of tight end you like. He could be, could not be, but
I'm asking you, man. Top 5?
He's definitely better than Pitts. I'll say that on record.
Better than Kyle Pitts?
He's definitely better than Kyle Pitts.
I don't know about that, dog.
Kyle
don't know about that.
has a redemption season.
He does.
I'm taking Evan Ingram right now, present day, over Kyle Pitts, without a question of a doubt. Without a question of a doubt.
I can't blame you for that. Pitts has had some disappointing seasons down there in Atlanta.
For whatever reasons. For whatever reasons.
Which is crazy.
We're not speculating. We don't know what's going on. It could be the quarterback. They went from a lefty to a righty to Kurt to I don't know.
Yeah.
The Bijan seems to be getting the majority of the offense. Who knows what's going down there in Atlanta? That's not our focus.
You're right. So, man, all right. Well, it looks like this is going to be a very good season coming up with all the moves that teams have made. And then there's some moves that they haven't made yet. Every team still has their own draft pick. So expecting that some trades will happen, we're not going to get to the draft and every team just stays where they are. What is a trade that you most want to see? And because we're about to get into the mock draft, let's keep the Bears out of it if that's one of your most wanted trades.
All right, Bears aside, what team am I looking to make a trade? It's probably the New York Giants. Again, they hold the number 3 pick. Is very, very, very like eye catching. You can do a lot of things with that number 3 pick if your player is there. Teams may want to trade up. It's this guy named Carter in the draft. We know the last Carter that was taken is a game record. He's been compared to Aaron Donald. This Abdul Carter coming out the draft, number 11, Penn State, looks like a small miniature version of Michael Parsons. With good development, a good team, he should be just as effective as Michael Parsons, right? But again, you're talking about generational pieces. I see teams that could either want to trade back. Giants being one of those teams, if they believe in Russ and Jameis can get them through the next 1 to 2 seasons, they may decide to trade back, maybe do some 2-for-1s there, still go after a quarterback, but now they're not going after one of those top tier quarterbacks. They're going after one of those quarterbacks that they believe they can actually teach the game to and doesn't have to come in with the pressure of being a day one starter. So the Giants could potentially make that move, trading back and letting the team who wants to come up and go after Travis Hunter or a quarterback be able to do so.
Okay. I like that. I think that can be smooth.
What you thinking? What you over there thinking, man?
Honestly, man, for me, I want to see the shake-up move, right? I want to see the Titans trade out of that number 1 pick. I want to see them trade out of that number 1 pick. I want to see them say, you know what? We believe in Will Levis. He's our guy for the future. We're going to trade out of this number 1 pick. You guys want Cam Ward? Give us your best offer. That's what I want to see. That would be exciting. Because then at that point, who's going to trade up, right? Pittsburgh. We know they want a quarterback. Are they going to go up, try and get the young guy? Oakland. Are they going to try and go get their young guy? Or are they going to try and stick with Geno?
What if there's a draft day trade, right? And again, we got to think monster headlines, right? I was kind of going on a minute scale, but let me kind of like take it up a notch. What if the Dallas Cowboys pull off a trade on draft day, trading Dak Prescott?
We gotta talk about the Cowboys.
You have to talk about the Cowboys. Dak Prescott being traded. They say skinny Dak. This is not the Dak, skinny Dak. All right, skinny Dak being traded to the Cleveland Browns for.
Oh man.
Hey.
Man.
It could
for the number 2 overall pick.
Number 2 overall pick.
Come on, dog.
And the Dallas Cowboys with the number 2 overall pick select Shedeur Sanders.
Bro.
Colorado. Shedeur!
Just why? Why would they do that? Why would Dak, who is a top quarterback in this league, currently the highest paid quarterback in the league?
Come on. It's some money.
Why would Cleveland
get younger?
Who has a quarterback on a fully guaranteed contract still?
With 2 Achilles tears in the same Achilles.
Why would they do that? Why would they put that money up for that?
I literally just told you why.
Nah,
a quarterback with 2 Achilles tears in the same Achilles tendon. That's one reason. The second reason is the Dallas Cowboy gets to come off that money, right? Now they get cap flexibility, which they desperately need to continue to build out the team. Jerry Jones and that management, right? Maybe a mistake, maybe not a mistake, but they waited too long to pay these players. The Bears do a good job of paying players at the appropriate time, what the market value dictates. And when that market value changed, guess what? They can't say anything. I know Jalen Johnson is like, I wish I would have waited. He could have got almost 20 extra million tacked onto his contract. Jerry Jones is looking not only to continue being a billionaire owner in his older years, but he's also looking to give his team flexibility. Drafting Shedeur Sanders, making that move coming off of Dak, resets the team, gives it a youth movement. Are the Dallas Cowboys going anywhere next year anyway? So if you know that already, you might as well come off of Dak, prepare to pay Michael Parsons, and then you could get some functional pieces to continue to make this team competitive in the division that they're in. Because if you expect the Cowboys to come out of their division with the Commanders, with the Philadelphia Eagles, with the G-Man making moves, man, I know this is you better cut it out.
You know what, man?
Cut it out. Dak is out. And this is the second time with Dak having these rumors.
It's a lot of Dak hate, and I'm really sick of all the Dak hate. I don't understand. It's so unwarranted.
It's the warm-up routine with him
What is
flipping his
up with all the
hips.
Dak hate,
It's the
bro?
warm-up routine.
Dak is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Since he's been in the league, he's been one of the best quarterbacks. The Cowboys are just the
See, and
Cowboys.
you're part of the problem.
The
See, what you just did,
Cowboys are
what
just
you
the
just did,
Cowboys.
part of the problem right there.
I'm
What you
part of the problem
Dak
because I
is
can.
one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
He is top 7 quarterbacks in the league.
So you got him on the second tier of elite quarterback.
Yeah, he right
That's
there.
what.
He right there.
So you taking Dak into a playoff game? I just want yes or no. You see, you thinking too much. Yes
I
or
ain't
no.
say all that now.
But you just said he's elite.
Listen, I ain't say all
You said
that.
he's top tier.
I'm not saying all that. But I'm
You
gonna say
sound like
this.
an oxymoron.
No. If I have an option of who I would want, give me a Lamar Jackson. Give me a Joe Burrow. Right? We the elite of the elite. We on the second tier now, the next tier under. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if I had to choose, give me one of the top tier guys. For sure.
Right. So instead of you got Walgreens and you got CVS. They both are mirrors of each other, and sometimes they're right across the street. So you're telling me you're gonna go to CVS if it suits you best.
Who in this scenario is CVS and who is Walgreens?
Well, clearly Walgreens will be the upper echelon, right? They're numero uno.
Well, I mean, that depends on where you are.
Well, and it also depends on your Walgreens location, but that's a story for another day.
That's facts.
But CVS will be the second tier here in this scenario that we're considering. So with that being said, I don't know how you could publicly go on record, and I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm interested to see.
Sometimes CVS got some stuff that Walgreens doesn't have, okay? We're not going to be hating on CVS here either.
We're not hating on CVS. The pricing is phenomenal. And again, that translates directly into the conversation and what we're talking about with Dak Prescott. The pricing, it comes down to numbers. They are sitting there looking at these numbers. There's no way we can have Diggs paid, Parsons paid, and Dak paid, and then want to continue to build out a team that's competitive. It doesn't work like that. They made a mistake by waiting too long. Now they have to undo that mistake, and undoing that mistake may cost them Dak Prescott, but at no cost to them because they'll be able to reset their franchise for years going forward. And it's prime time. What other place would you like a Sanders except for in prime time?
It sounds good. Let's see how it all works out, man. I don't really care about the Cowboys. Honestly,
Me neither.
I don't really care about the Cowboys, but let's see what they do.
Don't the Cowboys have our former what's that guy? Oh man, he's just
they're D coordinator now. You know, they'll be going over the hits principles.
Oh, I mean, flying to the ball. All right.
They will be flying.
Get out of here. Yeah, flying to the strip club. All right, moving on.
Oh man, let's do it. All right, man.
So now we get into Bears, right? We sit here, we talk about the league holistically, right? We're looking at the draft. There are a lot of moves that could be made. There are some steals. There are some notable eye catchers, but then there's some that may be flying under the radar. But specifically, we want to focus on all things Bears Focus Pod, and we want to get into mock draft for the Bears using their picks. Now, we know that the Bears hold a top 10 pick. We know the Bears hold 2 second-round picks. We also know the Bears have a third-round pick. They have no fourth rounds, no sixth-round picks. They do hold a fifth and 2 sevenths. We have a lot of picks going into this draft. What do you think are some of the moves the Bears are going to make with these draft picks, especially at least those top-end picks, especially rounds 1 through 3. What do you think the Bears are going to do? Any Ryan Post specials coming up?
Let's get into it, man. The very first Bears Focus podcast mock draft. You know, we're going to get into it. We're going to do we're going to do probably one more leading up to the draft, you know, and then we might have a little special thing coming up draft night. We'll see how that goes. But starting with this first round pick, man, at number 10, I don't know. I think we will see a poll special, but I don't think it's going to be at that 10 pick. All right. So for my mock, who I got round 1, 10th overall pick, the Chicago Bears select Will Campbell from LSU. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So in my mock, I'm along the lines of you that quarterbacks are going to go early. Teams are going to be moving up, trying to get quarterbacks. Some of the other skill position players are going to be picked early. So I think that these tackles are going to slide a little bit. And we're going to have a chance to get one of the best tackles in the draft a cornerstone piece that we can build with. What you think, dog?
I don't think much of it. All right. I got to keep it funky with you.
That's
I do
crazy.
not think much of that Will Campbell pick. Now, what I do see the Bears doing, and I'll debunk that Will Campbell theory and coming up here in 1 second. But what I do see the Bears doing is Bears first round, pick 10. The Chicago Bears select Ashton Jeanty. All right. I know you are against Jeanty coming to the Bears, but hey, let me just give you some numbers.
Man,
Let me just give you some numbers here. He
drop it.
rushed in 2024. He rushed for 2,601 yards. He had 374 carries touching a rock. That seems like he's ready for contact in the NFL, although it is a different league. However, contact is contact. I see the Bears going after him and going into the season, and he also had 30 touchdowns. Now, what makes Jeanty very, very unique is that he can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He has route running ability. He has great start to acceleration ability. And he is a dual threat running back. You can put him anywhere on the field and he can possibly produce. He's one of the legit just top players in the draft. You can't say that for too many players that are coming out that they're legitimately a top pick in the draft. Like if you draft this player, he can make an impact on your team immediately. Jeanty brings that. Now, to that Campbell guy that you said, just let me remind you of some things that the Bears did. Maybe you may have forgot, and I know you may have forgot.
We don't forget.
Okay, all right. Again, the Bears starting tackles look like Braxton Jones, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, and Darnell Wright. Where's Will Campbell going to start? We draft this guy. Where is he going to start? All right, and hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Go ahead,
in addition to where is Will Campbell going to start, there's questions about it. There's questions. I know what we see on tape. The eye does not lie, but does it? Sometimes it can deceive you, right? Your heart could become full. I don't know if Will Campbell is the guy for the Bears at that 10 pick. In fact, I think the Bears let Will Campbell pass, or the Bears may do a poll special and trade out of that pick. Again, if Will Campbell is the guy left, I don't think they're 100% sold, especially when they know they can wait and still get a guy that they could develop and still be a day one starter for the Bears long term in the future. That's why I'm not completely sold on Will Campbell, and Will Campbell may not be the Bears guy. In addition, the arms. I don't know what that's all about. But again, I think the Bears go another route and build in the trenches and not with Will Campbell.
Well, look, man, why would you not take a top tackle when it's proven through college that they can get it done? How many sacks did Will Campbell give up throughout his college career, if you don't mind me asking?
Inform me. Why don't you give me some numbers? Inform me. Let me know.
1.
Numero uno?
1.
Uno? I don't know. Okay. All right. Again, different game. Grown man to halfway grown man. Apparently, college, NFL, different speed of the game. So, hey, that's another thing to consider. So, it's just like, all right, good stat. What else do you have for me?
What else do you need?
Okay, you could have told me he was also a 3-year starter.
You
could also tell me he was a 3-year starter at LSU, right? He can't.
Through his college career, you need to know how long it was, I guess. They can't be there for 1 year. It's not the NBA. We don't have one and dones. So even if it's just 2 years, which most tackles aren't there only 2 years, but even if it's only 2 years, to give up 1 sack, and you're in the SEC.
That's Joe Tooney. That's like Joe Tooney-esque. That's Joe Tooney-esque.
You're going against the top defensive linemen and linebackers always.
So they say.
Oh, okay. Now we had some Dak disrespect. Now we got some SEC disrespect. I don't know what's happening right now. This is crazy.
Here to be objective, right? I'm not here to agree with the masses. I'm here to be objective and let the facts show. The SEC is a tough conference. It is nationally recognized as being one of the toughest conferences in football, in college football, in collegiate football today. However, how disrespectful would that be just to single them out as numero uno? You got the ACC. I'm even willing to say the Big Ten was extremely competitive last season. And
I agree with that.
And took major strides. I'm not disrespecting anybody in the SEC by any stretch of the imagination.
Shout out Ohio State.
Okay, and now if I get to go blue, all right. Shout out Michigan.
Hey, do you, dog.
You know what I'm saying? The 5-5, but that's a subject for a different day. As you can see,
who cares about losers though? But
Wow. I mean, we'll
you
save
do
that.
your thing.
We'll
You
save
do
that.
your thing
We
though.
will
You know,
save
you
that
side with losers.
conversation
That's
for
what
a
you do.
different
Well, all right.
day.
But you're right though. You
We're not
know,
gonna get into I think.
right. But Will Campbell, man, I like that pick, and I think we should do that. One Braxton Jones again. I don't think he's the long term answer.
Here's
He's
another
not.
scenario with
And
that
Poe
number one
said
pick.
he's gonna bring in competition.
Here's another scenario with that number one pick, right? The Bears could go Campbell, right? We discussed that. The Bears could go Genty. The whole world knows that if they're available. The Bears could go either one of those players if they're available, or the Bears could trade back,
For sure.
going from 10 to 18, doing a trade with the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks move up to that number 10 pick. The Bears now draft 18th in this 2025 NFL draft, and they get another second round pick from the Seahawks. Make pick 52-ish. 50, a second round pick 50, which gives them 3 picks around that 40, what the Bears pick, 47, 49, and then like 52.
39 and 41.
Okay, and then they get that 52 pick. So again, giving them another chance to get 3 top players within the top 50. Again, I don't think the Bears are sold on Campbell. I think they're sold on Genty if he's there, because it's a positional need for the team, and the team has already built out the trenches. It makes no sense to pay these players we got in free agency if we're not going to use them. They have to be day one starters.
Well, they will be used. That's the thing. They were all interior offensive linemen that we got. We didn't bring in any tackles. So specifically did say we're going to bring in competition at the tackle position, specifically for Braxton Jones. Braxton Jones is coming off of injury. We need something there.
Keep an eye out on the name Josh Connolly. 6'4", 315 Oregon Ducks. Again, that name is Josh Connolly, 315, 6'4" from the Oregon Ducks. I think if he's there on the big board, nobody has drafted him. Bears could draft him and potentially slide down, essentially continue to trade that pick back, go after him, still get the guy that they want on their big board, bring him in, develop him, and he'll be a functional piece for the team going forward. Again, I think the whole world and the Bears are in on Genty. I think it's a split decision on Campbell, which calls for trade back, take the best offer, let the Seattle Seahawks move into that 10 spot because they need to build out their team. They just let all of their stars go. They traded away their quarterback, their wide receivers. You got the coach there who's a second-year coach. He's looking to build out that defense, and he needs a defensive back. He can get one at 10, trade him with the Bears. Come talk.
Man, I don't care about the Seahawks, but I understand the reasoning. I don't think it'll happen, but we'll see how it goes. So let's get into pick in the round 2 now. So round 2, we got 2 picks there, 39-41. So on my mock, round 2, pick 39, Chicago Bears select Jamar Turner. Pick 41, Xavier Watts, safety, Notre Dame.
You got Watts going high off the board. That's that's aggressive. That's aggressive.
Some people might say that's aggressive. You're right.
Super aggressive.
Some people are saying that's aggressive.
That's aggressive.
But listen, I'm gonna talk about the Turner first. I think that he's somebody that we can get in that second round, a defensive tackle. Some people kind of see him at that edge too. We can use that piece. Now, will he be a cornerstone piece? Who's to say, right? Hopefully, he can be a guy that develops on that opposite end of Sweat, and even Sweat takes another step up. But still building out the trenches, going now on the defensive side, and getting somebody that can hopefully be a cornerstone piece for us coming into the future. And then Xavier Watts, man, listen, a lot of people haven't been talking about it. I know we've talked about it a bit, but the Bears need a safety. We have Brisker, right, where was he last year?
Hey, don't you do that.
No
don't you do that.
I know, obviously,
don't
he was
you
hurt,
do that.
But I know they say it all the time in the NBA, but I think it applies to all sports. The best ability is availability. And you missed a good portion of the season. Now, hopefully,
dealing with a traumatic brain injury. All right. It's not
much respect and grace. All right? Much respect and grace.
So that brain is
he comes back healthy to obviously take care of your mind, take care of your brain, take care of your body.
Hey, shout out, man, the game.
But but we still need somebody now that's going to play safety for us. All right. We need somebody back there that's going to put in the work. All right. That we can get. And with Xavier Watts, we getting somebody that could be a ball hawk. Not the most athletic, right? But from what I see, I look at him very similar to Harrison Smith. in Minnesota. The safety has been there forever. And I think he's a great safety. So if we get something like that on our back end for 10 plus years, we did something right. So that's where I'm going with my second round picks. What you got for me, dog?
I like the Bears taking an offensive tackle at that second round pick. Again, I brought up Josh Connolly. The Bears could potentially trade out of that top 10 spot and potentially draft him from the Oregon Ducks as a second round pick. But then at 39, right? Going offensive tackle at 39. Now, if you go offensive tackle at 39, the Bears may go. All right, just let's check this out. CJ West, right? We're talking a hometown welcome. Somebody who is from the city, familiar with the city. 6'1", 315, played at Indiana. Again, this is a miniature defensive tackle, but we need defensive tackle help behind Andrew Billings, who's coming off a major injury, right? Behind Javon Dexter, who took a leap last season, but still hasn't established himself as fully dominant on that Bears line, and then injuries do happen. We need defensive tackle help. Not only could CJ West play the one technique, but he can come in, he can play the three technique as well, giving us what Dennis Allen needs. And then also, again, they're talking about his size as well compared to Will Campbell, but it looks like him being the aggressor, right? Instead of receiving all that force and power from an offensive perspective, now you got defensive player applying that pressure, right? And I'd rather take that on that side of the ball, being miniature, going after him, having him come in and just being a disruptor. Automatically day one a rotational piece. That can come in, give the Bears good minutes, and make impact plays. That's who I see at round 39, and then that's also who I see at round 41. Again, giving us the flexibility to pass on Campbell and continue to build through the draft, because again, we could get later in the draft and then we can go after this defensive tackle in the draft that I think would fit.
Why are you so high on Connolly, dog? Is it
Well,
just the value of
it's
getting
the
them in the second round?
it's the value, it's the picks, okay, where we're picking them at, and then it's the physique of offensive tackle makeup, right? All of those things strike gold according to NFL standards. If you can get him in, train him up, give him 1 to 2 years where he doesn't have to come in, he doesn't have to play 13 games his rookie season, 16 games his rookie season. He can come in, just get a full season, get that, develop his strength, develop his technique somewhat, learn from these world champion offensive linemen who are currently on the Bears starting. He could come in and make an immediate impact just by doing that and be prepared to go for not this season, but seasons beyond. It is about now. Bears time is now. But again, this team is being mindful of building out the future as well, too. That's the reason why I'm big on the Bears going after an offensive tackle, potentially Conley at that spot.
All right, all right. I see what we're doing. I like what we're doing. I don't like that you went running back first round,
Of
But I
course.
like that we both did. You got to build them trenches. You got to get you a tackle. You got to get you a defensive tackle, a edge to really solidify and continue to add pieces there.
Yeah.
So we got that 1/3 round pick, number 72. What you got in that slot?
That's where I had Xavier Watts going, right? The
Oh, I like
Notre
that.
the Notre Dame ball hawker, right?
You think he gonna last that long though?
He could potentially, because he has some tackling issues, right? So when you compared him to Harrison Smith, I didn't necessarily see that, right? Harrison Smith could lay a big hit.
Well, I wasn't as much talking about the hits as much as his ball hawking ability.
Now,
How he gets to the ball.
his ball hawking ability, I would compare, he's a roamer. So he may be on one side of the field and he may potentially be on the other side. That's how he's tracking the ball, right? He's going after it. He's moving around. He's a flyer, right? So I wouldn't expect him to be playing in the box. He's going to play some exotic packages where we need maybe defensive coverage back, right? I see Bayer being up in the box. I don't even see Brisker playing up in the box too much next season because of his injuries from last season. They'll probably try to protect him a little bit, but with that protection, you still need somebody who can come in and do the necessary things and still play the game the right way. And that's where I think Xavier Watts come in. Now, that's one pick there. My secondary pick, if Watts is not available, if Watts is gone off the board, because you have him second round pick, I'm going with Ohio State safety. I'm going Latham Ransom.
Hey,
From Ohio State, right? Again, we're building a team. right? This guy brings toughness and tenacity. It sounds like a TT, but it's what the Bears need in training camp and beyond, because that's what they're trying to build this team out for. This is what they're trying to do. He could be a potential pick for the Bears coming in at that safety spot. Again, you come across his zone, his area, you may get hit, and that may be what the Bears need back there in the backfield. He could be a potential pick.
Yeah, I like that move. I like that move. Honestly, if it wasn't going to be Xavier Watts, he might be on the next one. So I won't say too much because he may end up on the next mock. We'll see how it goes. I might be feeling a little different that day. We never know.
I think you only like that pick because it's Ohio State, but that's nonetheless.
That may be true. There may be some truth there, but it may not be. Who's to say? So round 3, number 72. For me, the Bears take from the Ohio State University, running back Travion Henderson.
He's not going to be there.
You don't think so? In the 3rd round?
No.
At 72? I think he'll be there. I think he'll be there because I think a lot of people have graded Judkins higher. Obviously, you got Hampton that's going to go pretty early. Genty, he's going to go pretty early. And then after that, I think you're going to see a run on running backs later on in the draft at some point. But I think he's going to be there for us to take him. 72. Out of 75 picks, and we have 4 of them, I don't think that a lot of running backs are going to be gone that early. So we're going to get us a steal at number 72. We're going to get us somebody that could potentially be a starter for us, right? If we're not liking what Swift is doing, if he's still trying to bounce outside instead of, taking what's there, we got somebody that's going to put his head down. He's going to get out there. He's going to be physical. He's going to be aggressive. And we need that. We need a real running back that's going to get down and dirty. Now, I did like Judkins as well, but that's how I felt about him. I don't think he's going to be available at this point. So we're going to go with Henderson. We need a running back. We need somebody else in that room. And we get one that can be a potential starter if they let go of Swift after this upcoming season.
I mean, it sounds good. I just don't see him being on the board there all the way at 3rd round pick at 72. I think there are 3 running backs everybody could agree on that, hey, if you have a chance to go get, you get. It's the guy from the Sun Devils, Skittle. What's his name? Scatterbo. That you like. Yeah, taste the rainbows for Cuz. Then you got Genty, okay, Heisman, and then finalist, and then you also have Trey Henderson from the Ohio State University. So it's so many this draft is full of running backs. So I don't think any team is stressing on getting a running back here. So they could wait. They could try to play the games. You may see a team just snag a running back just because randomly because there's so many in here. And then you got to think about the market value of the running back. They're not trying to pay these running backs that are currently in the NFL. Saquon just got paid because Saquon Barkley
broke the record, all-time season record.
Come on.
Super Bowl.
You didn't see any other running back get that type of offer in the free agent market or potentially coming up after that. And we know running backs' bodies get wore down the fastest because of how many contacts and hits that they take every single play. I think this gives the NFL teams more flexibility to continue not paying running backs, which is sad, but it seems the way it's trending, where one of these teams are going to snag a running back that they may not need, but they know they have a piece they could use later down the line. Again, this is more like this draft is futuristic, right? It's present day, but it's very futuristic because you're going to have a lot of talented players in this draft that are going to be in the NFL. Some people say not for long, but for a long time coming out of this draft from the running back position. So
I agree. I think this is going to be a draft where a lot of the running backs are going to be household names that we all know in the future. And to your point, man, I don't think running backs, a lot of them are going to be there at certain spots. Genty, I don't think is going to be there at 10. There's teams that could use a running back before 10. Or will Hampton be the first guy that goes off the board at running back? Who knows, man? And that's the beauty of the draft, right? You never know really what can happen. So we got 3 more picks here for the Bears. And in the 5th round, they got no 4th round pick. In the 5th round, they go all the way to 158. What you got at this pick?
They pick at 158 in the 5th, 149.
I got 158.
Okay. Nonetheless, I see the Bears going here to address the need for the team, right? That hasn't been talked about much besides you kind of mentioning it a lot, right? As an underrated need for the team. And that's going to be the linebacker position. Right now, we have Tremaine Edmonds and Edwards TJ Edwards at our linebackers position for the Bears. Those are two great linebackers that we have, starters that are very good for the team, but TJ Edwards, I think, has 1 year left. Edmonds is in, the second or third year of a deal, but he hasn't really panned out from Buffalo. He's been good, but hasn't really been what the Bears thought he would be compared to Roquan Smith. Hate to do that to him, but hey, compared to Roquan Smith, hasn't really lived up to Bears expectations. The Bears kind of need a just core linebacker that is always going to be associated with this defense going forward. And I think that guy is going to be Kobe King, right? Kobe King, Penn State. He's not a day one starter, but he can be a long-term player for the Bears who could potentially develop. Of course, he can make an immediate impact on special teams, but he can develop and learn from these two linebackers that we have on our team. I think he could play. I think he'll be better as outside linebacker, so I wouldn't want him as my Mike linebacker. Let him be fast to the ball, be physical play, but again, he'll have to continue to build up his frame for that position, and he'll also have to build up his speed and tracking players because he's going to go against some elite tight ends, and he needs to be able to guard them, especially the running backs catching the ball out the flat. So again, at the 5th round pick, I have him. And what I like most is that in 2024, he played defensive snaps 748 compared to 2023, where he only played 393. But he missed 3 games, right? I don't know if 3 games make up that many snaps, but that's another thing I'm looking at. Snap count. Are these players on the field? Are they primed and ready to go? Do they have the motor to be a Chicago Bear and a monster of the Midway? Something to consider with Kobe King at the 5th round pick.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that. And you're right. Linebacker is a position of need that a lot of people have not been talking about. I see online a lot of Bears fans are saddened by Jack Sanborn not being re-signed. I don't understand why, but, I guess he was a hometown favorite. But we need somebody else there that can produce and that we can develop into that next person for us, the next man up.
Remember the Bears in the previous year's draft, 2024 draft, they drafted some linebackers. So we have some linebackers that are on the team, but have they necessarily panned out? We have the guy from the Oregon Ducks.
Noah Sewell.
Yeah. I mean, is he going to take a leap this season? Could he be a foundational
Jack Sanborn
piece?
replacement.
Yeah, so I don't know if the Bears are necessarily stressing, but if they're looking for another linebacker, that may be the way for them to go, just to say, hey, we got a piece long term that we could develop, teach, and then be a functional core piece of this team going forward.
Most definitely. So for me, round number 5, man, I went a different way. They also, we know another position of need is wide receiver. They just don't have enough. What are we gonna do with Tyler Scott? Tyler Scott we've said his name more than I feel like the coaches have said his name on game day throughout the seasons. Like, it is insane. So with that being said, round 5 for me, I got the Bears selecting Jalen Royals, wide receiver out of Utah State. All right. He's a pretty decent sized receiver, 6 feet, 195, 4.47 speed, sense speed, 35-inch vert. I think that this is going to be a player that we can hopefully develop into a very, very good rotational piece, whether he gets to your number 2 receiver or he just remains your number 3 slot guy, right? Which is something that we need and most teams need now, with 3 receiver sets being kind of the way that offenses are running. We get us that guy. We get us somebody still kind of big out there at 6 feet, like I said. I think we making moves right there. We getting our offense right. We getting some pieces for Caleb Williams to spread it around too, since they didn't bring back Keenan Allen. So I think that's where we go at round 5. What you think?
I don't like the Bears taking a wide receiver. I think the wide receiver market is open. Bears have been active. They signed a couple, not the ones that I thought they would go after and sign. However, there's still some good wide receivers left on the open market, right? And if you can get these wide receivers 2-year deals for cheap because it's not panning out for them, bring back Keenan Allen. I don't understand why you wouldn't bring him back and insert him into
What's cheaper than a rookie deal? It's cheaper than a rookie,
I know,
especially a fifth round rookie
but you
contract.
also want players that can win now, right? That could come in. You have that camaraderie with the quarterback already. Let's not lose that piece. Let's bring Caleb back his targets that he knows how they're coming out of breaks. He knows where they like the ball. Let's not make him go through that developmental portion of this offense again. Let's get Keenan Allen back. Keenan Allen can play the slot, or he can be your two, or potentially your one on any given day. He's that flexible, and he's a red zone killer. There were many times in the red zone where we saw him run one of them in and out routes, and he completely broke his receiver down, being
Put the moves
six
on them.
four. Yeah, being 6'4", getting in and out of that break, going and get the ball. So Keenan Allen, people forget he's a route running specialist. This is what he does. Healthy, bearing no heel injuries this season. Again, come back to the Bears, come on a team friendly deal. Let the city take care of you. You take care of the Bears. If you have a great season within this offense, I'm pretty sure Poles with that ownership group will look to restructure, find ways to give you more money, or just make sure you end your career as a Bear. I think Keelan Allen only has about maybe 3 seasons left at the most, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 good seasons left. Looking at his injury history from this past season, again, Bears do the right thing, bring Keenan Allen back, and let's go into the season with a full repertoire of wide receivers, not ones that we necessarily have to develop, especially Rome Odunze coming off his developmental season. Let's get another key veteran in that room besides DJ Moore that can lead, teach. I like Allen coming back to the Bears. That's the
You
only
like
wide
Allen
receiver
coming
I
back.
see. Yes, Allen back to the Bears. It needs to be campaign more. Allen back to the Bears. It needs to happen.
I said, baby, come back. Well, I don't think it's happening, dog. I don't think it's gonna happen. Not with Keenan Allen. I think that because we know he doesn't miss like half of the season, right? He's gonna miss 3, maybe 4 games. But does he want to come back? Like, does he actually want to come back to Chicago? I know he said he would.
Rumor has it. Rumor has it. Well, he does want to come back. It looks like to Chicago, but he's looking to still just kind of get paid on that wide receiver market, right? There are
That's the
3
thing.
places. There's 3 places where he said he wanted to go, and if it didn't work out with these 3 places, he'll consider other options. The 3 places he absolutely wanted to go: LA Rams, that didn't work out. Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
LA Chargers, that did not work out for him. And then going back to his former team that
They're not bringing
traded
him
him.
back. Yeah.
Exactly. That's not going to work, right? He wanted to
They
stay
already
in
brought
LA.
back one of their old receivers.
Exactly. Mike Williams. So he wanted to stay close to home. That didn't necessarily work out. It looking like the Bears are just, we're sitting there like, come on, we're ready to catch you if you jump. We got you. Jump.
They may have a
Jump.
very low ball offer on the table.
I think the Bears have maybe like a 2-year deal on the table, less than $20 million for Allen. And Allen was looking to get more of that Diggs contract. Give me something 3 years. Give me some 27, 28. You got to think he's younger, and he's not coming off a major injury
Isn't
either.
Diggs' contract basically just a 1-year contract?
It is, but he look at the guaranteed money that he
Yeah,
got.
36 guaranteed, but he's younger. All right.
No, Diggs is older.
Diggs
By
is
1 year.
older?
Yeah,
Oh,
by
that's
1 year.
crazy. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Diggs is older by 1
I
year,
will
and
look
he's
it up.
coming off a major injury, right? Then you
Well,
got
then that's
Allen.
insane that he
That's
got that.
that's what I'm saying.
I think personally, Keenan Allen is the better receiver of the two.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
I
whoa,
think so.
whoa, whoa, whoa. All right.
No, it definitely is preference, but the Bears aren't going to do that. Poles doesn't give out contracts like that. He's just not in the market of really giving out too many bad contracts, should I say. We can look at some pieces, Coleman Shelton, things like that, that didn't work out, but they weren't paid crazy. So you can't be too upset. A 36, what was it, 30 something guaranteed million for a year or two for Keenan Allen, I don't see it. I don't see it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's why I went with it. Receiver at pick number 5. Yeah, we got the last 2. Round 7, pick number 233 and pick number 240. Which way did you go with these last 2 picks?
Well, I think when you get to the 7th round, now you're just bringing in guys that you kind of just want to see, right? Maybe if you see somebody slip in the draft, maybe because of issues due to behavior, issues due to law, you give those guys maybe a chance or a second look. But I think the Bears are not going to do anything crazy with these 7th round picks. I think they may go. Ryan Poles is just he's like this. he'll go bring in a long snapper. He'll look at a long
Mhm.
snapper. All right, the best long snapper in college football that nobody thought to even draft. He'll go get him with the 7th round pick, and he'll completely transform the team with what they're able to do. Not only for field goals, because we did have an issue with people blocking our field goals
That's right.
last season that needs to be
But was
fixed.
that on blocking, or was that more so on just how Santos kicks? 'Cause I think a lot of it
Santos
was on
does
his
have a
like
low
low launch
trajectory.
point.
He does. And then that brings me to my second point. I know we just paid Cairo Santos. He is a beloved Bears favorite. But
Oh,
can he kick through all weather conditions? The answer to that is no. Therefore, the Bears could be looking to bring in a kicker at that 7th round spot that just has power and lift, right? Not necessarily to take Santos' spot, but they'll get a good look at him, right? And they could potentially sign him, and he could be a player later down the line. But rarely do teams have 2 kickers signed unless they're one is signed to the practice squad. It wouldn't be a bad pick for the Bears because they could be developing him ready just to insert him when the time is needed.
all right. Nothing specific there. I can respect that. It is the 7th round. I mean, like you said, these are going to be pieces that are more so pieces that you're taking a chance on, right? You're taking a fly on these guys. Then you look at Brock Purdy, who's about to get paid and probably now become the highest paid quarterback in the league. That was a 7th round pick as well. So you can find some gems there depending on how the cards fall. So for me, round 7, I got 2 players that obviously I hope fall because I want them on the Bears team and I think they can be good for the future. So I went Jake Majors, center out of Texas. I think that'll be a good piece for us. Get us a young center in. Let him learn under Drew Dalman. He's going to sit. He's going to be a backup, right? The backups we got right now, older, really not the most reliable. Get him out of here. Keep the young guy.
Well, Dan, what does that say to the Bears signing? I think they just signed Doug Kramer, right? Re-signed him to a 1-year deal
I did.
to be the backup. Are they just giving him another chance? Because they said, hey, he has some elite ability to him from the center position. Because last season he just wasn't healthy, just couldn't get healthy. So is this the redemption season for Kramer? Shout out Seinfeld.
He's not gonna play, hopefully, right? So where would the redemption be if he doesn't play? This
And
is
just
just
having
backup. And then if it's
having a
just a
healthy
1-year
system.
deal, you can just be like, if we bring in this young guy, Jake Majors, and they like him better through training camp, through practice, goodbye. We got the young guy here, right? And then with this, say that Dahlman has some bad injury, knock on wood, right? Don't want that to happen. Or he's just like after his contract's up, all right, I don't want to be in Chicago anymore. I want to go to whatever team is about to win the Super Bowl and they need a center, right? Now we got somebody that we've trained up in our system that's been here that we can put in, as opposed to trying to now fill it up with random guys at center that really shouldn't be playing center, but we just need it. So I like that move. I think we should always build for the future. And then the last pick, 240, another one that I just hope falls to us. I went Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. Now, both of these guys are probably not going to fall all the way to the 7th round. But if we get them, if they do, I think they would be really good pieces. And with Harmon, he's a defensive tackle that has the ability to play out on the edge. Again, getting that, building those trenches, having that young versatility in there that we can move around and develop and see what they do is always going to be a great thing, especially like we said in these last rounds where you kind of just testing the waters.
I like those picks, but again, I don't see too many of those players sliding like you said. But if they do, the Bears again, reeling and dealing in the 7th round. We know Pose likes to get somebody under the radar. I think the undrafted free agents that will try out for the NFL too are going to get a hard look from the
For
Bears
sure.
because again, we're looking for competition and we're looking for people that know football, and that can come from anywhere, not just the players that were drafted in this NFL drafts. I mean, much to anticipate, much to look forward to, all things Bears, especially with this mock draft. Again, I think the biggest move the Bears are going to make this draft is trading back from the 10th pick, especially if the player that they want is not there, which will allow them to get up to 5 picks within the top 75. If they trade back, they'll get five picks within the top 75, and they could potentially build out this team, some starters now, and then potentially have a bunch of players ready to go later down the line to be game changers and starters for the long haul. So again, my biggest thing taken away from this mock draft, Bears could potentially trade back from that 10 pick. Don't be shocked. Or Genty will be the talk. of the Chicago Bears running back room.
Well, let's hope that they keep on building out these trenches. Let's hope Jency gets taken earlier, and then the Bears can just go ahead and get Will Campbell, and we can build the team the right way, build through the trenches and have a successful season. But that being said, first mock draft ever here on the Bears Focus podcast. Let us know what y'all think down below, man, in them comments, where y'all would switch some things around or what you would do with those picks. And then draft night, Thursday, April 24th, 7 p.m.
Are we going to do it? Are we going to do it?
We're going to do it. We will.
No, are we doing it?
We will be doing a special Bears Focus podcast draft night live stream. All right. We're going to have some guests coming through. We're going to have some real entertaining conversations, all right, around the Bears. We're going to see what they do, man. Hopefully they pick somebody great at that spot. And we'll give you all the analysis and review.
Hold on now. The guests that we're going to have coming through are passionate Bears fans. People who know football, people who know all things Bears and potentially all things NFL. You'll be able to get perspectives not only from passionate Bears fans such as myself, but you'll get the analytical side of the game as well with some special guests coming in. And then always, we know football is just not guy related. It's women related as well too. That way it's all inclusive, which it has been for a long time. We're also going to have plenty of women come in and provide their perspective on what the Bears should do. Some appropriate, some may be funny, some may be spot on. But again, considering all viewpoints, all things Bears Focus podcast should be a fun, riveting draft night, especially if the Bears pick at the 10 spot.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. So make sure y'all spread the word, man. Live stream, draft night, Thursday, April 24th. Live on YouTube. Be there. Tune in. React with us. Enjoy the draft. Have some good time. Enjoy some jokes. Man, we appreciate y'all listening. We really do. Any last words before we get out of here, man?
Of course, as always, subscribe. All things Bears Focus Pod. And then, of course, the Bears.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man. Leave a like down below. Like you said, hit that subscribe button so you can get all the content that we drop, especially with the draft coming up. You can be notified of that live stream. Always focused on the Bears, baby. Bears Focus Podcast. Till next time.